Hey guys, I'm not going to bore you with a step-by-step install. We should all be competent to do this. But real quick, some of the tools that you're going to want, your drill, an impact driver, tape measure, of course. You need at least one level. If you've got a 2 foot or maybe even a 4 foot level, that's really handy to have. Some tape is good if you want to make your marks on the wall, so you're not having to go back and paint center punch or an awl for marking your holes, but you can actually use one of the screws that comes in the kit for doing that. When you're starting off on the install, probably a good idea, go ahead and mark the centers on the elegant mounts. That'll save you a couple minutes going down the install. You won't have to do it then, and it's a good reference point as you're installing them. Hey guys, something I wanted to show you real quick. This is the bottom, right? You got your little locking screw. And you can see that the mounting bracket is not actually centered on the towel bar mount post. Um, if we measure this, let's get a clean start here. It's, right about 1 3/4. The center would be 7/8, but you can see it's not really 7/8. It's really right about 3/4. So keep that in mind when you're mounting the little bracket on your elegant towel bar mount kit. That this isn't actually centered on the block. It's about an 1/8 inch off once it's all finished and everything. So just bear that in mind when you're installing these. It'll give you a better finished appearance. And yeah, there you go. Since most of our applications for these elegant mounts are going to be damaged sheetrock, I would probably like pick the worst of the two. If you're lucky, it's just one. So your towel bar may actually be slightly in a different position than it was originally. That way you can use these mounts to cover up the sheetrock damage. I'm sure most of us already know the paper trick to catch the sheetrock dust, but if you don't, here you go. Once you locate your where the first block is going to go, keep in mind if you have damaged sheetrock, when you're sticking your butterfly anchors in there, align the wings so that they're getting the best bite. Okay, don't line it up with the crack. Obviously, you want it to be somewhere where there's good support behind it. A habit that I'm into is I don't mark all 4 holes and then drill them all 4 at the same time. Inevitably, one will move, one will wiggle, and you won't have a perfect mount. I'll do one, and then I'll do the second one, kind of catty corner, and then I can do the other two. And the blocks have a little bit of wiggle room once you have all 4 anchors in and you got your 4 screws in. If you leave them loose, you get a little bit of wiggle room so you can make it nice and perfectly square and everything. A couple things to remember when you're installing your elegant mounts. Look at the wood grain. Even though most of these will be painted, a lot of times you can see the wood grain underneath the paint, so just make sure you align your wood grain on both blocks the same. Hey, something else to keep in mind when you're doing the final install of these, you've got your anchors in and everything. Don't over torque those screws. I spoke to the manufacturer and in R&D, I guess. They were able to crack a couple of blocks from over torquing. And the other thing is, keep in mind these are plastic anchors. You can strip out the anchors. So they will take a substantial amount of torque, but, don't go crazy. When you go to install your towel bar mount onto the elegant mount, drill some pilot holes, all right? You don't want this thing to crack or anything else. And then, like I say in another little clip there, look at your mount before you go marking all your holes on the elegant mount. Most of these are not dead center where you think it would be, okay? So it's one of those things that, once you see it, you can't unsee it, all right? If you just go center to center, it's going to be off by an 1/8 inch or so. So just kind of bear that in mind. Once you have both your elegant mounts in their final position, torqued and everything, go ahead and put your the wood plugs in there. I would use like a little piece of paper as you hammer them in there. You don't want any dirt or grease or anything from your hammerhead to get on the wood and mess up your paint job. I wouldn't recommend pushing them in with your finger because you may push them in a little too deep. If you do that, you're going to have to drill it out. And they do drill out fairly easy, and I think they will give you a couple extra in the kit. So there you go.